after one, they're useless anyway. Good afternoon and welcome to the 2017 Papa John's Under 21 New Brunswick Curling Championships. We're live at Curl Moncton this afternoon. Andy Peterson here with Lawrence Forbes. Good afternoon, Lawrence.
Hey, Andy. Looking forward to some good curling this afternoon.
Yes, we have our afternoon matchup this afternoon. We have Team Cluff coming to us from the Woodstock Curling Club against Team Smith, Cameron Smith, curling out of Florenceville. Let's get underway here. As we do, we want to send out one more thanks to Papa John's as our title sponsor for this provincial championship, as well as Modern Construction and Shoppers Drug Mart for their support of curling and youth curling in New Brunswick. Awaiting the umpire's final instructions to the teams as Rachel Brewer gets ready to settle into the hack. You see her there on camera with some last-minute instructions from the umpires. Rachel Brewer heading in for the first rock of this provincial championship. Lawrence, looked like the ice was running nice and quick as we watched in practice earlier. For those at home who are familiar with curling, we're getting somewhere in the neighborhood of a 4-second split. That's backline to hogline for T-line during practice. That's nice and quick right off the get-go as we see the first rock slide a little deeper than I would have liked into the back 8 foot.
Appears to be lots of curl too, Andy, along with the speeds.
Yes, everybody, the team here at Curl Moncton has been working all week to get the playing surface ready for play. I curled on it on Tuesday evening as they were starting the fine tuning of it. There was certainly lots of curl, and the speed was also good. So looking forward to some good conditions and some good curling this week and weekend. See an open hit there. Rocks creeping their way up towards the button.
Yeah, they're not taking a lot of ice either for takeout.
Well, it looks like we're probably settling in for a fairly wide open first end, which probably wouldn't bother each of these teams here in the first end of the first game of the provincial championship to, as much as you practice leading up to this and on the day of, knock a little bit of those nerves off and see that rock rolling away, but still in the rings. Another hit called here.
It's always good for the first end, Andy, just to get the feel for the ice, get the feel for how the opposing team is going to approach the game.
Just as we think we know what's going on here, we have a center guard called, so going to mix it up here a little in the early going. Called for a tight center line guard. You can see taking about 4 feet of ice for that center line guard. We can get 4 feet of curl here throughout the game, throughout the week. They'll be very happy.
Just about right on spot too.
Absolutely. Ice of this speed, the brushers really can make a difference. They can position rocks quite nicely. See it take out a peel called here. Looks like it's curling up toward nose.
Rolls over to be a corner guard on that stone that's hitting himself.
Yes. So they're going to jump at the opportunity to come around that guard. They do have have the opportunity with some backing, perhaps to freeze on that one in the back, or obviously the goal here to outcount it. The slip, an indication of the quick speed we have this afternoon, Lawrence. The brushers escorting that down.
Yeah, that's going through. I played last night on this ice.
Yes,
sir. They've done a good job on the ice this year.
Yeah, certainly. You saw how little that rock curled, indicative of just a little extra weight, and you won't get that finish at the end. Brushers with a light bit of attention here. That rock is going to slip into the house. Yes. And to your point, it does take some getting used to, and if you're relying on your stopwatch, as many curlers today do, you can get lulled into thinking what speed was a week ago wherever you happen to be playing, or even yesterday where you were playing, and you get onto a surface that's running a little quicker, and you do. The reflex says to put the brush down, but as we just saw what happened on that last one. Slip with her second rock at the end. Again, a little early brushing, and brushers have backed off again now. There is a ever-widening hole coming up back there, isn't there?
They thought that it was a little slow, but the stone just keeps on going.
Absolutely. Looking at the overhead shot here, I would say yellow is shot, which is going to force Cluff to make a play on it, and when they do, they will lie three, but all three at the back of the rings, and we don't have the benefit of hearing the skip's call, but it looked like a little bit from the motion of her broom that she was asking actually to roll out, probably not wanting to set up a little wall back there for yellow to draw into on their next rocks.
Well, the sweeper's on right away. So.
Yeah, that is over curling on her. Trying to get past the guard.
I don't think that's the way she intended on rolling.
That was not the way she intended to roll. However, I think she'd be happy with the result, and especially taking away some of those rocks at the very back of the house. Skip Cameron Smith with her first of the first end. Brusher's keen to jump on this, but there we go. As the speed starts to come down, you're going to see the rock start to curl quite nicely. Not going to get quite to the back rock, but leaving the inside of the high side of that rock exposed, which does bring in the potential of jamming yellow onto blue if they will make a play on this. Sweeper's on this right away. Certainly is. She's going to just clear the guard and avoid the jam. Just avoid the jam. Nice rock, well called. Importance of line calls on ice like this that is this swingy is a lot in the anticipation of it, and knowing what the speed, you get the speed call from Typically from the brushers, they'll let the skip or whoever's in the house, the skip of the third know, which gives the line caller a little indication of when they should and when they shouldn't jump on it. This rock's hanging out there a little bit, isn't it? Yeah. And rolling it out.
Yeah, line call is very, very important for the skipper. Whoever's in the house, they can watch the players, get up to the sweepers to keep watching the line. So, you really can't see what they want to do at speed.
That brings in the whole team, the team concept of this. The thrower obviously doing their part. The brushers need to communicate to whoever's in the house, calling line what the speed is, if it's as called or a little up or a little down, especially on this ice, where if your weight is a little down from what's called, you'll get more curl, and really important for the line caller to know that. And still working around that one lone corner guard. Right-hand side is from our vantage point, and as you watch from home, or maybe you're watching from work this afternoon.
It's going to be short.
Yeah, it's going to be short. Quite likely what has happened there. Skip Erica Cluff has watched a number of rocks slide through the house, and is conscious of the speed being fairly quick, and you settle into the hack and think, I can just give this to my brushers and let them do their thing. Sometimes short's okay, but not always.
It's a little too short.
Well, my teammates are at home or at work right now listening to this. They know exactly what I'm talking about. Again, a little advantage of some couple staggered cornered guards over there now, and some backing. So Samantha Barabay. And brushers mostly escorting this down the ice.
Just a little extra weight, Andy.
Yeah.
And it won't curl enough.
You see that rock just slide through, not quite hack weight, but 2 feet less curl than they had anticipated, had the weight been a little closer to T-line. It's a case of an end perhaps kind of sneaking up on them when they rolled away to that corner guard early in the end, and opposition threw up a center line guard, and now we're coming down to the final rocks of the end, and it's all about that corner, which is essentially they're playing over to the 12-foot.
They jumped on it right away, thinking that it was going to be a little short. It's going to see it.
Yeah. And slipping deep into the 8-foot, little nibble on the blue 12-foot ring down there, which is plenty of room to salvage a point out of this end, and
so she is playing for the back. There's something there in case she's in the
absolutely, if you decide to play down the middle into the heart towards the button, that little extra speed, and you could be looking at a steal of 2 here pretty quickly. Samantha Barabay with her rock.
Signal from the sweepers that she's heavy.
Yes, and similar signal from the house. Looking for a little movement here, but and she is not going to get it. Again, that rock, Lawrence, was just to the back line, yet they needed a full rock, a full foot worth of curl to take advantage of that backing.
So that's a steal of 2 for Team Cluff.
An early steal of 2.
So we've just seen the first end of Papa John's Under-21 Championship, formerly known as the Juniors. Because we now have an Under-18 Canadian Championship, so we now divided them into 2, so to 18 Under-21s.
There will be some teams here this week that would qualify for both of those from a national level. The inaugural Canadian Under-21s hosted here in Moncton.
Under-18s.
Just the Under-18s, yes,
Yep.
just earlier this year.
Yep. A couple of teams that did play in the teams.
First rock of the end. Team Cluff sliding deep again. Samantha Barabay calling the game and throwing last rock for Team Smith. Calling sweepers on early on this. Rock in the house for those who can't see it at home. Square on the center line, and this is over curling on them. Contact. Rolling out, reset on the second end. Gives Cluff an opportunity to rock a little higher in the house. Again, rather defensive call to come in top 4. Rushers so far haven't got a whole lot of exercise, have they? They've been escorting a lot of rocks down the sheet. You see this one slide.
Slipped to the back of the house, a little further than what she wanted to be. So that decided to really turn things on. Ice is not going to slow down. So we're going to have to get used to this. Curlers love fast ice, but if you haven't played them,
Exactly.
it's a huge issue. Clubs don't have
We've had the benefit here of being able to take a few days to get the ice tuned up and in shape for this provincial championship. You always want your best athletes, regardless of what sport they're in, to play on the best conditions they can possibly play on. And certainly the goal here at Curl Moncton this weekend.
They put a lot of effort. They started working on this ice on Saturday. Extra work to it each day while trying to keep people curling.
And the rock being escorted down the ice. And the sweeper giving a little head shake there to indicate that this rock is probably not going to slow down. Barabay calling for a corner guard. You saw on the release there as well the very positive rotation on that stone. Nice with a considerable amount of curl like this. You don't have that degree, that amount of rotation rock can go sideways on you. Not taking any chances of being deep on that one, were they, Lawrence?
No, they
No.
but they're kind of all over the board. They're just still trying to get used
Yes,
to the ice.
absolutely. Those maybe watching for the first time or not accustomed to it, that's what they would refer to as a guard in the number 1 zone. 1, 2, and 3 typically until you get into the rings. And, you hear that reference. There's a peel on that guard. Peel on that guard would almost make you think that they're happy to take this 2-0 lead and
stick with it
and
for a while.
keep moving along with it. Smith with Samantha Barabay on the game call, calling for another guard. And bring this one into the rings. Yes. Perhaps entice a hit and a jam onto the back, perhaps.
Probably feel a little more comfortable with hits right now since the ice is fast.
Absolutely. You probably have a good idea the first team that has confidence in the speed will be the first team that decides to really get aggressive with a few guards, and since the pressure's not putting much on this. Away.
Let's take out and Stone moves out also.
The Barabay again calling to essentially replace that rock. So throwing up a guard, trying to take advantage of that the back. There is a rock that you'll see shortly. It's just touching the back line. It's out of the rings. It's not counting, but trying to entice and get a mistake and get a jam, and then have an opportunity to probably just draw to the open side and sit 2. Well done. Mission accomplished on that. Another.
That's pretty well exactly where she wanted it.
Absolutely. Scorers will give that a good mark, I expect. 4 out of 4 indicates Brian Rice over here, our statistician, and 9 here this afternoon. That rock a little wide, a little positive on the release, and got popped out a little bit. It does jam, but she gets away with it.
She'll be happy with that to get rid of that yellow stone on the back line.
Absolutely.
Not in the rings, but something to come up against.
Still a double. Let's give her a rock behind the tee line to freeze to. Losing the line on this one, Lawrence. Yes. Losing it very fast, right at the back. They the line call to sweep to maintain line added into that slipping right out the back, and hard to tell exactly from here, but the next overhead shot we get, if this blue does happen to go straight back onto yellow, she might just be in the rings. I did not. Well, I was watching our monitor to get a sense of whether that rock in the back was potentially going to come into play with a jam, but I'd say based on the ice, this is This is a call to split the house. And lie 2.
Sweeping it all the way.
Looks good. Just going for that rock. Top 8. Top 8 would make the double difficult. The deeper it comes, the easier the double on that. Sizing this up now, the double is certainly there. Hard to tell, Lawrence, if she were to nose this this top rock, whether or not she would be shot and out counting that rock as you see at home.
That's the first thing she looked at to
Yes.
see if she would be shot wrong or not.
Yep.
But that kind of risk that she's taking, I'd say she's drawing.
Yes, she is. She's, and if you think you know the ice better than your opponent does, and if you can tuck a rock in behind that's certainly a definition of a very tight guard in there in the
Yeah.
in the 8 foot. But
she must have decided that she wouldn't be shot rock if she hit the top.
yeah, unless she's playing. The option here too would be to potentially corner freeze that top blue and set herself up something with her last rock of this end. It looks like it's coming off that pretty quickly. Here's another case. I think the brushers are a little shy now to put a brush to it. They thought that they could very well sweep it through just as well as they could put it in exactly the right spot, and they were a little apprehensive coming down the ice, and rock started to slow and curl, and they missed.
So what do you think she should do here?
Well, you have a lovely opportunity to sit 3. It's where do you go, and certainly by the ice they're taking and the call. Again, we don't have the benefit of being able to hear the conversations, but based on what we see from here, looks like she's going to take advantage of that of the yellow guard you see there at the top of the rings, and her own blue, and
Just trying to get into the 4 foot.
and tuck rocks around there on the 4 foot. Which would leave the option to try to play the thrown rock, depending on where it lands. If it's perfectly buried, there is a short run back, but the opportunity to jam and steal again. And there's another rock coming. Early stop there, so I wonder if that's if they've found a spot there that for some reason is slower, or if it's just a little apprehension now and not wanting to overthrow. Yeah, she could play the double and roll off of that top blue rock. It's just outside the 4 foot, as you see here on the screen. Depending on the weight she throws, the double is there to push it out. I don't know if she would. Don't know if she'd get the blank off that. We'd have to call it very finely to.
With a lot of weight.
Yes, exactly. With a lot of weight to get the double. The potential here is a soft hit and roll in to score 1. Knowing you have a little bit of a catcher there that's not quite in view yet. You see the brushers coming on to this.
Right away.
Yeah, he's approaching that center line guard, and sweeper's going to see if they can coax this in to out count. But there's another steal of 2.
Steal of 2, which leaves the score 4-0 for Team Cluff.
A reset in this end following 2 ends. We can work our way across the We can work our way across the sheets. We have Tracy versus Peasley, which is currently, after 2 ends, is no score. We have Donovan leading Robichaud 3-1. Robichaud scoring 1 in the first, and Donovan coming back with 3 in the second. And over on the first sheet, which is sheet 6 here at Carl Moncton, we have a tie between McCabe and let's keep asking to move so we can see who the McCabe and Lewis tied at 1 after 2, playing the third end. We have another rock slip into the house. That would have been on purpose with a 4-0 lead. Right now, Team Cluff would be extremely happy to give up a score of 1 here and really take control of this game with hammer. Guzik here with her first of the third end.
Still not getting aggressive for Freeze and Stalton out as opposed to putting up some guards.
Yes. Yes, at 4-0, this could get away from them before they have a decent opportunity to narrow the score. No surprise here with the call of the hit on the rock that just came to rest. Rachel Brewer has to make this open hit. Rachel's a grade 12 student at KVHS, Communications Valley High. Miss Pam Sisk growing out of her home club, Thistle St. Andrews TSA in St. John, and you'll see with the Cluff team that they do call Woodstock their home club, which is where Skip Erica Cluff goes out of. We have a collection of Chris Pam Sis and Oromocto Gage and Ashley Cormier, a St. John High student curling out of TSA Thistle as well. Rather common in 2017 to have a team that has players from various parts of a province, regardless of what that province happens to be.
Seems to happen more and more. At one time, all the team members came from the same club because they had an opportunity to play together often. Started on the same teams. Sort of cherry-picking the best players, their best players that they can make up a team.
Yes, and we see that reflected in the numbers of teams here in this in the junior women's side with 4 teams from the entire province here this weekend. 4 teams, but a lot of different clubs represented on those 4 teams. There are 3 blue rocks from Team Cluff in the house. Team Smith going for a freeze on the back of the forefoot, but yeah. And you can see by although that rock did make a little bit of contact, it didn't roll out of play, but it rolled to the back line, which they had a little too much speed on that, which had the speed been right would have overcurled.
That's right.
On them. Struggling with the speed to throw and struggling with where to put the broom in early going. Yes, Team Cluff calling for a rock top 12 center line, which ultimately would make it difficult to freeze into either of those. Getting in the way. That rock's slipping deeper than I wanted. Looks like this is switching from offense to defense here in this particular end. Time to make a little bit of that blue go away, especially the blue that's above the tee line. If they can get a double on those two rocks. Two rocks that you'll see coming into play here shortly. Top 4 and tee line, and this is over curling. The intended double is out of play, but contact on one and from one of the blue Cluff rocks.
I think she needed a tad more weight
on there. Replace that rock. Top house. Cluff motioning right there with her brush, looking for a rock. Off center line, top 4. Just trying to get in the way. Mission accomplished. Samantha Barabay thinking about a little hit and roll. Judging by the ice she's taking, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of a board weight shot. We're now rethinking, abandoning that first thought and going for a hit on that rock. Top 4. Smith on that. And in contact with a backhouse rock and rolling away. So remains strong advantage. Team Cluff. Cluff calling for a stone top 8 foot, just off center line. Combination of making it very difficult for any doubles or better, and certainly shrinking that scoring area.
She's center line 4 foot open for opponents to try to go after the tees, bunching up the other 3 rocks.
Yes. Leaving her that right side of the sheet for a potential hit or draw, and that's the side of the sheet where we saw a couple of rocks come short in the previous end. So they either know that it's slower on that side and it may be more difficult, or they're just hoping that she's thinking that it's slower on that side, and of course is a mistake either way.
Calling for a hit and roll.
Yes. Yeah, something to roll into and something to roll behind. A really good shot here will bail them out of this end. Set them up to score. Curling up to nose, however, it looks like the any roll is going to be minimal. Or in the wrong direction. Not much hesitation here to
not a lot of thinking necessary.
To take it out. A roll towards center line, I expect Lawrence would be what she's looking for.
I suspect the kind of ice that she's asking
There's a couple of things we've talked about already with the speed being a challenge to these teams in the first game. Team Cluff has the advantage with this 4-0 lead, being able to throw hits, as you mentioned earlier in this game. That's a little more confident where you're going to put the broom, you're a little more confident throwing, you're a little more confident with the line call to be able to throw some hits. A quiet weight hit here. Nice controlled weight. Essentially the same shot available to her that they attempted in the first end. The rock's a little higher in the house, but not a whole lot. Something in the neighborhood of hack to board weight with that type of ice should curl, and it would also be a nice controllable speed for a roll. She's not going to. She wouldn't roll too far if she happens to hit a little less of this rock than she intends to.
She's in a tough place right now.
She certainly is.
Looking at 4 blue rocks in the house.
Yeah, same with the Barabay with her first of the third end. Pressure's on it to hold it out there on line. It's
Going for the sweepers right away. So
yeah.
she'll get that roll.
It's a nice looking shot.
Beautiful.
Not shot, it helps. It does leave her the opportunity, as you look at the overhead. Here the rock on the left-hand side, just on the 4-foot line. If she had to, she could play a little tap back, blue onto yellow onto blue to score, depending, of course, on what Team Cluff dials up here. They're looking to come top 4. She doesn't want to be so deep that it offers her offers Team Smith a wide open nose hit to score. So she'd like to be in the 4-foot just enough that she could potentially outcount should that combination of blue, yellow, blue happen on Samantha Barabay's last rock for Team Smith. See, they're out to the edge of the 8-foot for this for a center line top 4. Certainly sweepers on this, but not any sense of panic right now. And here's one of those cases where short is better than deep. Short's okay. Well thrown and really nicely judged.
Perfect.
However, a nose hit will result in 1, but she's got to be thinking, is there anything here I can do to score 2? It would be cute. She could play off of the inside of that blue. Had we a telestrator here, Lawrence, we could draw this up really nicely, but
I think you could fit another stone in between there.
just 1, not 1.5. I would think she'd be the way this end has been going, and the way she's been essentially chasing Team Cluff throughout this end. Score of 1, although not optimal, would be a little sigh of relief.
A little confidence we just need to.
Yes, absolutely.
Come out. That's good.
This is moving. We end up with the score of 1. Lots of rocks over there on that left-hand side to catch.
Gets her out of that end. So just a special thanks to the The sponsors of this event, the U21 for the province of New Brunswick, Papa John's is the featured sponsor, and other sponsors are Bob Lee Productions, Model Construction, Shoulders Dartmar. Special thanks to them, because without their sponsors, these events would be difficult to run.
Absolutely. Looking across our sheets again, the game that we'd reported on the last break, that was 3-1. It's now a 3-3 game, Donovan and Robichaud. Team Tracy with 1 in the third. That was a 1-0 lead. And Lewis with 2 in the third has opened up a 3-1 lead over Team McCabe. Team Cameron Smith with Samantha Barabay calling the game and throwing skips rocks here with a guard to open the end, without the advantage of last rock. I would think they had a quick chat at the break and talked about having to go in for a steal here, at least in the opening rocks, before they have to change strategy. But a steal here would be no doubt the objective.
And they have to try to keep some rocks in play.
Rocks in play and rocks out front, something we haven't seen a whole lot of. A fair number of rocks in play in the last end, but they were all between 4 foot and 8 foot. Well, potential could have been here to throw up another guard, but Samantha Barabay calling for a draw. An indecision on which way to go.
She wants to get in behind her own stall.
Yep. Hoping to have Laura Guzik throw her out turn around that. Perhaps because they're more confident in the ice, perhaps because they know the speed on that line, perhaps again because they're staying away from that spot just outside the 4 foot line that seemed to have confounded a couple of rocks in the last time we were coming back in this direction. That rock slipping to the back of the 8 foot, so not exactly according to plan, although covered. Cluff now with hammer, opting for a similar shot with the intention to stay in front of the tee line here and put a little pressure on Samantha Barabay. Cluff with leading with last rock. Rachel Brewer. Rachel's a past winner of the Kenny Coates under 15 in 2014. She's under 16 East Coast Curling Championship and the under 15 Junior Mixed Curling Champion in 2015. So already a high school student in grade 12, building up a nice curling resume.
It's a great opportunity to be able to play in those types of competitions. Get them out of the house, curling clubs.
Absolutely.
Get in around the province to other experience curlers.
The decision here on the brushing, but not quite. They wanted that rock right on top of that blue rock that you see just on top of the button area. You see the button there with the Scotties logo in it. Moncton hosting the New Brunswick Scotties Women's Provincial Curling Championship in early January. Cluff thinking things over here. She has that rock at the top of the 12-foot. Looks like she's initially calling for a hit on that stone, the yellow stone, top 12. Initial call is to roll under. They're contemplating peeling the guard, and it looks like that's what they've opted to here with a 4-1 lead and hammer. This is Deanna McDonald, 14 from Oromocto and Oromocto High, under the gauge, Golf and Curling Club. Mission accomplished, not as intended, Lawrence, but
Not unhappy with that shot.
yeah. Well, considering they thought about removing the rock at the top 12, and then thought about removing the guard, and ultimately did both.
Went for the guard and got a double.
Did both, and hesitate to call that a corner guard that they left over there. It's guarding the very, very, very edge of the 12-foot. See Samantha Barabay with a different call on this rock that was top button, previously attempting to freeze to it, now opting to take it out.
For the jam,
And resulting in that jam that you see with the blue rock, pair of blue rocks. Back house, one back 12, one back 8-foot. Cluff settling in here for fairly wide open hit with a fairly large port to pop that through. This rock hanging out there. It's curling up nicely at the last minute. As you see, no, with the exception again of that rock on the far right-hand side that I'd hesitate to refer to as a guard. Not much cover out there, which suits Erica Cluff and her teammates just fine.
and I thought it was starting off good with putting a guard up, but then we went for the house, and that changed.
Freeze. The line is a little off, and just enough off nose with just enough separation there that Erica Cluff is not going to hesitate to move up and
Didn't even have to think about it.
move up and make that go away. Third stone, Ashley Cormier. Ashley's the other St. John area curler on this Woodstock-based team.
I just drove from hog line.
Certainly did. Punches that through. Again with a couple of rocks back there, calling for the corner freeze on that rock that you see right-hand side of your screen. That's towards the top of the house, top 8-foot.
Just a little tad heavy. Now it's fully exposed.
Fully exposed shot rock with three blue rocks in the back that could come into play. The potential jam here, although there's a considerable hole you see right there in front of Erica Cluff's right foot. One rock and another rock over on the other side of center line. So certainly plenty of room to navigate and watch this rock come through. We'll take a moment to mention sponsors of our event. These teams wouldn't be able to do what they do without the support of their sponsors. And sponsors Team Cluff include Canada Bread, Alpac Enterprises, Holland Power Services, CCE, L&M Ventures Trailer Sales, John's Floor Services, Landcor, IA Investia Financial Services, Napa, and Canaport LNG.
So Team Smith have called for a timeout.
Yeah, so what do we have? We have 4 rocks, all clustered around the 12-foot, 3 of them behind the tee line.
So each team qualifies for 2 timeouts per game.
Options here, Lawrence. Freeze, 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 or freeze, or
Wouldn't want to be the one out there trying to make the decision. Coach is going to have to advise him, but
I'd rather make the decision than have to throw it.
good point.
So as we look at the overhead here, certainly an option if you were to freeze to the again, if we had a telestrator here, we could number these rocks, but going around the circle, you have the rock at the 12-foot that's in front of the tee line. If you were to freeze to that next rock, which is just behind the tee line and in the 12-foot, if you were able to freeze in there, the rock in front of the tee line would serve as a little bit of a guard. If you were to freeze right into that rock, that's essentially at the about the 8 o'clock position. As you look at that, would be an option. The follow-up shot to that, to a well-made freeze in there, would be to run back the rock that's in front of the tee line straight back. Without any guards, there's not a lot of place to hide.
Not a lot, and Cluff has last rock.
Yes. Not a lot of places to hide, only rocks to freeze to, so it's a case of which one do you freeze to that gives you the best opportunity of your opponent having a miss or a half shot in there somewhere, and playing a hit and jamming, or playing a hit and having your rock bounce off and catching onto one of the other blue that are back there. They're certainly calling for a draw into that approximately a 7 o'clock rock, as you'll see it come into play shortly. There's no line. Keepers are going for speed. Pushing hard for speed. She does not want to roll off that rock. It's perfect freeze. Nice speed. Let that rock come to rest just on the other side of nose, as opposed to the low side, as they refer to it. Let it come to rest on the high side. Much better opportunity here now for Erica Cluff. Hit that rock off center. That yellow rock should spin off of the rock to which it is frozen. There's your shooter, but you don't really care about that. And here's a case of first game on unfamiliar ice. Where we put the broom. Does look like quite a bit of ice for what I would think would be somewhere between a peel weight to a good firm normal at quietest.
She doesn't have to remove it completely.
No.
As long as she moves it out of...
Yeah, it bounces that sideways a few feet, right?
She gets a second and third possession.
The 4-1 lead and last rock. Peel weight is fine. That rock is curling and hard. Yeah.
Didn't care if she spilled hers.
Not at all. Not at all. Does leave a little pocket. staggered pocket, but a pocket nonetheless. Absolutely, yeah. And she's throwing down the same line where 2 ends ago she came up short. So whether she thinks there's something to that side of ice, or just a matter of light being light, perhaps, in her first one. Let's see how this reacts. She needs to get into this pocket. Yeah, facing 4 with one more blue Team Cluff rock to come. Line looks good. She wasn't going to be light on this one. Backline-ish weight. Doesn't want to bounce off of that. Has to play the takeout. Yellow rock presently shot, however.
Not in a great spot.
Not in a great spot with one to come and line 4 already. Well, a little quiet on this. If that happens to overcurl and jam, it could be a yellow score. You don't have to be light here. You can throw.
The sweeper's on right away.
Yeah, you want to hit this on the high side. You don't care if you roll out here. Nicely done. Nicely done for 5, all in the 12-foot marks.
12-foot back of the house.
Yeah. That breaks this game wide open. Adding 5 to this for a score of 9-1, if my math. I haven't posted the score, but I think I've got that.
Not very good at math, but I can figure this one out.
Yeah. Let's go back across the sheets. Still tied at 3 in the Donovan Robichaux game with a blank end in 4. The Lewis McCabe game is now 4-1. Lewis leading McCabe. And Tracy still leading Peasley by a score of 1-0. Now we are Cluff calling for
she's going to want to go in the house. Just
rock top 4.
She wants to keep her momentum going.
When we have a minute, we'll talk about the sponsors for Team Smith, based out of Florence, New Craig Manufacturing, Chief Fuels, Michaud Petroleum, Wonder Muffler, Beaver Brokerage, Russell Metals, and Dykstra Farms. Guzak the lead.
First down, didn't get to the house, get across the hog line.
Well, if you weren't going to make the house, you might as well have hogged it.
Yeah, you don't want anything up front.
No, if you're Team Cluff, you don't want anything to do with guards right now. There's a corner guard. Quite often with Hammer, Lawrence, you're looking to score 2, but I don't think 2 is the conversation they had at the break.
They need a bunch.
probably see them be very happy to throw guards and to leave the opponents. We have some stats coming in. The team stats not only indicative of the 9-1 score we have here. Team Smith at 61%, Team Cluff at 77% after 4 ends. Player for the game so far, I would say, for Team Cluff at 84%. Throwing third stone is Cameron Smith. Oh, sorry, wrong team. Ashley Coleman. Team Smith, the lead. Laura Guzak, the high mark on there with a percentage of 78. That's through 4 ends. Thanks to Brian Rice for those numbers.
Here's a case where her second rock should have been another guard.
Yes, absolutely.
She's got to set up some stones in the front of the house, something to go on.
Let that rock take off on them. Good miss.
Yep, takes the guard out.
Yep, good miss. These teams are playing this week and weekend. A chance to represent New Brunswick at the 2018 New Holland Canadian Juniors in Shawinigan, Quebec. That is in early January 13th to 21st. A little different timing of some of the events this year. Lawrence being an Olympic year. This junior event would typically be a couple weeks later in December, and then moving along through the men's and women's championships, which are moved up a little sooner to allow for that Olympic curling event.
Yeah, everything's early this year. Even the Scotties being the first week of January.
Yes.
Lawrence traditionally towards the end of January into February.
Yep.
So every 4 years these series get mixed up.
Yeah, and good side of that for curling fans is we get a whole lot more top-level curling to watch in the comfort of our homes, or if we're traveling to watch a national or an international event. It adds to that. We're just coming out of the Road to the Roar, which was in Summerside, leading up to the Roar itself in Ottawa, which will determine our men's and women's representatives in the Olympic competition.
Olympic year certainly adds a lot more events.
It does.
All over the playdowns, the worlds, the Europeans, the Pacific Coast.
There's Rayleigh Slip playing over on the left-hand side as we watch the monitor and we watch at home. That rock coming up a little short, but at this point and with this score, short is better than deep. Call an appeal here. Team Smith will be hoping for a nose hit on this, or something that leaves another rock in play for them to freeze to, come around, angle off of.
She just in the last rock, the blue rock that went down, got a nice double. And they did 2 Yellowstones that were in the house.
Well, there's the nose hit. Going for the come around on the out turn. Smith. Markers on this all the way down. That rock moving.
Should be a nice finish to that rock. The sweeper's game.
A little quiet.
Not enough.
Cluff with a little decision here. Thought about the come around. I would have thought she would have sprinted out to those rocks, but ultimately coming up with that call to remove those rocks from the front.
Get rid of that in front.
Absolutely. Potential here if you hit this on the center line side. There she goes. She's moving the broom over. Get that rock from the center line side and potentially spill. Remove those two guards. Have her shooter go to play. Maybe even clip that blue that you see coming into the site here on the edge of the 12-foot. Opens it up, takes some rocks, takes some guards away from that rock that's on the blue side. So. Chance to essentially split the house, remove a reasonable chance at a double, use that yellow rock, get away from that blue rock over there. They could freeze to that rock. Use your own guard here. Knowing you want to score more than 2 points here, Lawrence, would you think about the split on those fronts? You could
definitely think about the split at the front, or at least split the house up. She gotta tick.
Yeah,
she got it in.
Split that top, that center line rock over towards that blue and use it for a little bit of backing. As it is right now, looking at the overhead camera, as we are yellow, clearly shot in the 4-foot. You see the indication there to play the takeout. Blue is second shot over on the right-hand side, 12-foot, just in front of the tee line. Cluff will be extremely happy. She doesn't need to roll under cover here or do anything too fancy as far as a line call goes. I think that.
Yeah, she's quite confident with her takeouts too.
Yes.
No hesitations on her part.
Exactly. Make that yellow go away. Sit to blue. Play to force Team Smith to one here, where their goal was certainly 2 and better. The brusher signaling her weight was down just a little bit. Squeeze going to cause it to curl a little more than anticipated, and rock removed. However, the goal is sitting 2. That turns, at least in this end, advantage over to Team Smith. They're having a look at it. Our overhead look here seems to lead us to believe, me at least, that blue is shot over yellow on this side. So choosing to ignore that, choosing to ignore what appears, from our perspective, to be shot stone and come around.
That's it. I like that idea. Because it'll, if she can keep one in the house, it'll force Cuff to go after that.
Absolutely.
She can keep that one at 9 o'clock for her last rock.
Might be her shot for 3, right? Yes. And 3 suddenly makes it, well, you know, it's 9-4, right? If you steal 1, it's, that's where, that's...
You've got a game going on.
Yeah. Team Smith with Samantha Barabee here on the throw and calling the game and throwing last rocks. The big execution from here on out for Team Smith is not just the physical, it's the mental. It's staying in the game, realizing that if we do score 3 here, it's 9-4. If we steal, it's 9-5. And suddenly, the other team might be squeezing the handle of the rock a little tighter, jumping a rock on a sweep a little quicker. And that rock all but fully exposed.
Just curled about another foot.
Yes.
taking a little bit more ice than she did with the last shot.
Yes, wants to make sure she
Overcurled the basket.
she doesn't want to clip that top yellow stone. Clip that top yellow stone, and it's going into it's potentially going into blue. This looks good. No.
It opens it up for two for Smith.
Yeah, there's a play here for two. We'll know pretty quickly what is shot here if they opt for the open draw. I've been mistaken, and blue was not, but I think they're going to play a hit over on that the blue stone you just saw disappearing from view. That is on the edge of the 12-foot, essentially at the 9 o'clock spot.
So she's not going to throw heavy. She's probably a little scared to roll up.
Yes, we've seen a few rocks. Here with that turn coming from the inside to the out on the 12-foot that have had some considerable curl with decent speed, with control weight speed. So you're absolutely right, Lawrence. She wants to hit the inside of this rock, and she has the better part of 12 feet to roll to put a 2 on the board here. Nice looking throw. Nice throw. Didn't overthrow that.
No, very well thrown.
Didn't overthrow that for a score of 2. That'll make it 9-3.
Give them a little confidence coming back from the 5th end break.
That's right. 9-3 after 5. Let's recap a couple of scores here. Lewis now leading McCabe 5-1. Tracy Peasley still 1-0. Tracy. And the Donovan Robichaud game. Donovan 4, Robichaud 3. Playing the 6th end. Rachel Brewer now has to take this rock out that slipped into the rings. Rock hanging out there a little bit on the 4-foot line.
Well, she doesn't care if she stays in.
Not really at this point. Going again for a center guard.
Cluff with the upper hand that she has now, she wants to have as few stones in play as possible.
Absolutely. Time staying pretty consistent. Ice speed pretty consistent. I just got a handy to a 4-second split back line, a hog line on this rock, and that rock pretty true to form. Could have almost guessed with a 4-second split that was going to be T-line. That's what it was in practice, and that's what it's been right through that. It's hard to get your head around sometimes throwing 420 split for those that curl. You know exactly what we're talking about. For those who like to watch the game but haven't thrown a stone, haven't thrown one in a while. That little difference in speed is really tough when you're relying on muscle memory.
Pushing. When you haven't played on ice.
Yeah. Well, even up to last week here at Curl Moncton, this speed, and again with ongoing club play, it is difficult to get and keep ice at a really quick speed. You call it a championship level speed or surface and such with that, and a learning curve for the club members this week as well to do that. Definitely not going to abandon the guard strategy here for Team Smith with Samantha Barabay calling the game. Really slip. Nice guard just off center line. And the call for the peel. Well executed. And it is the execution. As far as the technical part of the game, the physical technical part of the game, the young athletes, the curlers are by and large so well coached that their technical aspect of their delivery and their brushing is fantastic across the sheets.
It's been involved in curling, going to junior events across Canada as an umpire for about 20 years now. We've seen improvements from my first time in the Canada game to seeing coaches, their deliveries. I just love to watch the game.
Yes, yeah. And that's where and the difference does come down to the execution, adjusting to the speed, adjusting to the curl, knowing where to put the broom from the skip's perspective, judging the weight, all the more subtle parts of the game, the mental aspect. This rock drifting out to the side, I think this is a mess.
That just drifted out a little bit and never came back.
Yeah.
But lots of weight. Peel weight.
Well, that remains the advantage that Team Cluff has here. They don't have to be delicate. They don't have to be cute. They don't have to.
They missed it this time. They can get it the next.
Yes.
They've got a buffer there with 9-3 on the scoreboard.
Smith Verbe calling for a come around, draw. This rock being short wouldn't be all bad either. I get a really great line out of this, but this rock is definitely going to be short. So we're going to need to jump on this.
Jump on it.
Yes. And done now. Double center line guards. Steal of 1 good, steal of 2 better.
Cluff wants to keep it open.
Absolutely. Looking at the angles, which gives the best opportunity to a double peel. As you see here on the camera, if she can get that top yellow rock coming across to the left and clipping just in front of her foot.
But she changed.
Changed her mind. A little change of tactic here, either because of the angle or perhaps because she's more comfortable with the ice, or maybe delivery of the stone, in-turn versus out-turn.
Sometimes it can be the person delivering the stone that's feeling more comfortable with one turn than the other.
Absolutely, especially on those big weight hits. Maybe they feel their accuracy is better with an in-turn versus an out-turn. So
we all have a favorite.
I don't know if I have a favorite.
Or some of them I dislike more than others.
It has to be good to be a favorite, doesn't it? Andre, if you're watching, maybe you can call in and let Lawrence know what my favorite should be.
So she's coming for almost identical shot she had before.
Very good centerline guard. At this point, this is the tactic. That's the strategy. Throw up guards and hope you get a miss. Sticking with that out turn. She noses this. She'll kill both. She'll remove both yellow, but the shooter will stick around. There's a chance to jam yellow onto yellow here. Not completely out of. Oh yes.
No, still
not
in,
completely out of play.
It's not much use.
No. Statistically a guard, I think, but not in practice, is it?
It's guarding the side.
Yes. We're choosing to play around that lone center line guard that you see just at the bottom edge of your screen at home. Play around that guard.
It's time to move in. They've got to get something in.
Absolutely. With put a little pressure on here, and over a force of 1. 1 blue, 1 Cluff, and in this end is what they need. That would make it 10-3. A steal brings in the 9-4 and keeps you in the game.
It's curling nicely.
Line looks good. So we can be able to finish this in a little bit. A couple of years ago, we would have been talking about sweepers finishing those rocks really hard with the brushing and the brushing controversy, I guess, and such with that, the brushing and manipulating of stones, but they've now gone to a much less aggressive brush head, and brushing still having an impact, but not to the point where it was. You must have had fun as an umpire with that.
Had a blast. Had a blast. As the controversy was getting heated, doing World Juniors in Denver, we had to sit down with a magnifying glass to examine every brush head they brought in.
Lovely.
And Team China arrived with 100 brush heads.
Well, you don't want to run out.
No, you don't.
No.
Because we had no rules about interchanging brush heads at any time.
Yes.
During that time either. So
yes, certainly.
Every end change brush heads. Wow. probably a innocent player.
Yes, and they all have identifiers on the side. They have
Serial
their serial numbered, and makes it easier on the umpires, doesn't it?
Much easier.
As we were chatting there, we saw that rock come and slide just behind the tee line, which left just enough room. And we'll get the overhead shot here in a minute if we ask really nice here. We'll get the overhead shot and have a look at this and see what we have.
It's really tough.
Hard to say. Can't see the backside, the underside of that Yellowstone to know what's going on here. But I would suggest, based on the line call here, based on where Cameron Smith is holding the broom for Samantha Baraby's last, I'm going to say that yellow is shot, because that looks like a play for a guard. There wouldn't be a whole lot of benefit in tapping that rock in. No benefit in tapping that rock in, unless it is a real quiet weight shot to tap it out over the top of the yellow rock, which you're going to see coming into play here shortly. And here the call of no line from our perspective here. Sweepers brushes. No, not at all. You want to set up an angle. You want to make this as difficult as possible for Erica Cluff to come down, tap yellow. Discussion now between Erica Cluff and her third, Ashley Cormier. Well, they're thinking we'll review some of the stats through 5 ends. We're now playing the 6th end here at Papa John's under 21 New Championship. After 5 ends, Team Cluff 72%, and Ashley Cormier, who I just mentioned, a high mark on that team with 80%. And the other 3 in the 70% range. Rachel Brewer, Deanna McDonald, and skip Erica Cluff. Team Smith through 5 ends at 64%, with Laura Guzak continuing to lead statistically at 60%.
This shot, yellow on blue.
Exactly. Nicely. Speed looks good. She's playing back onto that yellow rock. Is she by? Not quite, but
She bumped it up. Enough.
no debate. Regardless, no discussion.
We assume that it's a blue.
That's what we are thinking. Hard to tell from the reaction of the teams either way. They're both about it rather workmanlike and methodically, talking about both teams taking a minute to
Gloves coming off.
to talk strategy for
So it must have been one blue.
the 7th end.
They're lining up a blue stone
That's
in the
right.
hack to throw.
Lead Rachel Brewer settling into the hack.
10-3. 10-3 going into the 7th end.
The time remaining there for each team, do you, Lawrence?
Yeah, I do. Just got, they're pretty even with Team Cluff with 19 minutes, 18 seconds, and Team Smith with 19 minutes and 12 seconds.
Not a big surprise, really, having watched this. Although the score at 10-3 is rather one-sided. There hasn't been a lot of debate and decision making in the shot calling.
It certainly wasn't slow play at all. They had one timeout, which would kind of put them behind the others in the 5th end break. But
as far as their thinking time goes, right, each team starting with
fast.
Each team starting with 38 minutes and having essentially half of that time left with more than half the game gone after 6 ends. Which does mean that if the score does tighten up and they need to spend a little more time thinking, they have that in addition to the timeouts. 2 timeouts left for Team Cluff and one
That's
for
how
Team
it should
Smith.
be. They should work on their time management so that at the end of the game, when it gets really tight, they need more time.
That rock slipping deep.
Back of the house, it's, I guess it is. So.
Richard Brewer going to settle into the hack here. Another rock.
They're not going to be placing it.
Top of the house, they want nothing to do with guards here. Ashley Cormier and Don McDonald on the brush, looking for top 4 foot. Are you surprised at all, Lawrence, with a 10-3 score, that you wouldn't just opt to throw some rocks through the house, or potentially take out her own rock, which had slid to the back of the house, and remove any opportunity for multiple points?
It's a line of thought, and I've talked to some players opt to play like this, and the idea is they don't want to change the strategy of their game, so they can continue playing the same game they've been playing.
Certainly, yeah.
Because once they change that, particularly in the 7th end, there's still 3 ends to go.
That's when things go wrong, isn't it?
Things go wrong.
Yes.
So they've got a certain momentum with the style of play that they've been playing, so why should they change?
And speaking of strategy, corner guard. Nicely executed.
She's not planning on leaving it there for long.
Second stone, Deanna McDonald. Deanna's past champion at the 2017 East Coast Under 16 Curling Championships. She's a student at Ormocto High. She's the all-star lead at the 2016 Under 21 Provincial Championships. A good quality experience.
Through the bios early. There's lots of experience.
Certainly is, even at, well, when you look at, even considering the juniors, there's a good number of the athletes here this week that have double-digit years experience curling, 10 and 12, and certainly when you get into again, because we're talking about under 21, you get into the 20-year-olds who, well, if they started curling as a 6-year-old little rocker, have been curling for 15 and 16 years.
And with great opportunity to play in some provincial tournaments, there's lots of now.
Yes, from Little Rocks up through Candy Coats, and as we mentioned earlier, the addition of the under 18, U18 national championship now.
And the curling clubs aren't so uptight about who plays in what leagues. So some of the junior clubs are playing in men's and women's leagues.
Certainly, it's experience, right? It's experience against. I hesitate to say better competition because you might play against me, but more experienced competition, older competition.
Older competition.
Let's go with that. Yes.
Experience doesn't necessarily mean better.
You see that rock slip through the rings.
She doesn't need long rocks and play. She doesn't need to build up her score.
No, she would be happy to blank this through. Rayleigh Slip, a 16-year-old from Woodstock NB, 7 years curling experience. previous champion in the U15 provincials in 2015 and 2016.
Now that's good. She gets a little roll over to the 12 foot. Good forces and take out on the wings, which is always one of the more difficult takeouts.
Riley's an honors student in French immersion at Woodstock High. Cameron Smith. Hard in the line call here. Hard for nose.
I find, Andy, those when you have to do a corner takeout like that, you look at the delivery of the curler has to leave the hang at an angle. And if they're overcommitted, they go too far.
Yes.
It's really hard to do as opposed to going down the center within the foot.
Again, because the hacks are, although curved a little bit, they're essentially flat across. And you need to angle your foot, angle your body, and your shoulders. And this is where, as we were talking about earlier, the technical coaching side of it, to get that nice square delivery with all parts of your delivery heading in the right direction and working together. Kudos again to the coaching.
I think it's amazing. I had an opportunity to be some of the coaches this year, watching them do the training with the curlers and see how they work with their square shoulders, with their feet, with their knees. Every part of the body there has an effect on how the stone is delivered.
We should give a little shout out to the coaches of these two teams, Felipe Marin, Team Cluff, and Joe Berbe, Team Smith. Again, speaking of the coaching and the time they put into not just being here at a provincial event, but getting the athletes prepared in game situations and coaching and the practice and the time spent sitting at home at the kitchen table designing practice and such. Without them, we don't have this level of competition.
Not at all. And a lot of times they're playing psychologist.
Yes.
Sometimes the best of the players get down on themselves and they need somebody to talk to get the boost of confidence that they can do it. In timeouts, I've heard that a lot with the coach will come out and not even say a word about the player.
Sure.
Talk about the mental attitude.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of coaches and such, we have over on our sheet 7 a timeout with the Robichaux team. The coach out having a little chat. There's with a 4-4 score and a number of guards out front and some rocks in front off to the side and Stones in play top 4 and back 12. They have a little strategy conference and again, to your point, probably just a little mental pep talk as well to get them through the decision and through the execution of what they are doing. Mentioning Felipe, as we were probably outside of the volunteers here this weekend at Curl Moncton that are maintaining the ice and keeping the facility running. Felipe may be the hardest working man in show business this weekend with coaching two teams, one on the U21 women's side and one on the U21 men's side. He's the women's team on the ice right now. The men's team is off, so he'll probably have time for an energy bar between games.
But he's used to it. He's also the national coach for the Spanish men and women.
Yes, this is true, and we should note that if you're planning on coming down to watch some of the curling here at Curl Moncton over the weekend, if you want to get here a little in advance of night 7, the opening ceremonies do run at 5:30, so it'll be a fairly quick turnaround after this game. The curlers on the ice will no doubt leave their jackets and such on and be ready to go again. And if you do want to come down and watch the game, you can come in. There's single game, single draw admission, and if you're thinking you might want to come in and take in a couple of games a day or over the weekend, weekend pass also available. Prior to that rock, we have more rocks in play on this end than we have in quite a few of the ends.
Well, we had some guards that stayed in place.
Yes.
Which is, I think, that's what Team Smith needs to do, is to keep some rocks in play, but
Team Smith here with Hammer with the advantage of last rock. However, as you mentioned, Lawrence, no guards. You want to consider that there's a guard just outside the rings, just off center line, but it's an opponent's rock as well, which if she did draw behind it, able to be run back. Watch Erica Cluff here. Yeah, center line, really about her top 12. She does not want to be deep. She does not want to slide in towards the button and give Samantha Barabay an opportunity. Well, staggered center line guards. Chance to come in. Hard to tell from where we are. That rock is almost as spot on as you can now see. So she will need to tap this rock back about half a rock, but she won't want to tap it back much further than that and turn advantage back over to Erica Cluff with her final rock of the end, creating too much separation for a chance to come down and
this will curve.
that. Certainly will. She needs to be. If this is light, I don't know if the brushers can hold this the way it does curl at the end when the speed just comes off of it.
Vice in the house called them off right away.
Yeah, of anything yet.
It's curl.
Brushers seem to be talking to it. Line is good. From here, looks like she's going to end up a little more bounce than she wanted, needed. That rock now completely exposed. It is shot. Chatting away here as we were, losing track of what was
last rock.
Rock count.
She picked up one. Which is scoring 10-4.
Through 7.
Special thanks to the sponsor, major sponsor for this event is Papa John's Pizza, which it is presented by Papa John's, and some of the other sponsors, Shoppers Drug Mart, Modern Construction, and Bob Relations.
Playing the 8th end, and for those who are most accustomed to playing club curling or watching some of the slam events on television that are only 8-end games. We're playing 10-end games here in the provincials. 3 ends remaining, although I suspect the outcome of this end could well determine whether we get to a 9th or a 10th end.
Traditionally, a league like this, adult curling, adults would want to.
Yes, during club play, yes, yeah. Especially if it was a later game.
We'd be tired.
Especially if it was a later game, we'd be looking at the clock and thinking, I think not enough. But these gals, these curlers, these athletes have been working a long time to get at this, and they're not going to look at the clock and say, let's call it a day. They're going to
catch up, and they should.
Samantha Barabay calling for another centerline guard. This one a little tighter. That'll stagger their guards. The more separation between this this rock, and the guard that's already just over the hog line makes it tougher for Team Cluff to do a double peel out of this. And a steal of one. While it is a score, would not likely be the objective they had when they huddled between ends. Good speed, good rock placement there. Erica Cluff deciding not to try to move those rocks around. Again, in the free guard zone, they can't remove it completely, but the option there for the so-called tick shot to move those rocks off the center line.
She's got last rock, so she's got aggressive.
She does.
Right to the house.
Word on the street, and Lawrence, as an umpire, you're probably closer to the street than many, about the 5 rock rule potentially coming into play for championship play next year, which would just add another measure of offense at this point right now for a team like Team Smith with Samantha Barabay, as you see there, calling the game. That extra guard.
Well, certainly put more rocks in play. Change the strategy again. And the purpose of it is to try and make it more interesting for a spectator.
Absolutely. A 2-point lead in the last end would no longer be as anywhere near as comfortable.
Nope, not at all. And I think we'll bring in to show how really important the kick shot is.
Some stats here from, thanks again to Brian Rice on the calculator today. Through 7 ends as a team, Team Cluff at 74% and Team Smith at 66%. So you've seen Team Smith slowly adjusting, I think, as much to the ice and the execution side of it as the technical side of it, and their percentage creeping up. Whether or not it can over this 8th and potentially 9th and 10th end, we shall see. Team Cluff has been consistently in that mid-70s percentage range as a team throughout the game, and here now through the end of 7, again with Cluff at 74%, 66%. Barabig now for another rock in behind. It's a very long center guard. Opponent's guard. Extremely long.
Peeled off 2 Yellowstones off the center, but the Bluestone stayed in play.
And there with just a couple feet of extra speed, and that rock didn't give the brushers an attempt or an opportunity to do their thing and settle it in on top of that other rock that you see top of the 4-foot on the center line, and Erica Cluff out to call the peel on her own rock.
She's ignoring what's in the house.
Yes.
Almost a nose hit.
Yeah. Leaves us center guard, a little different position. Our better position for Team Smith, and moving that rock, that guard position over just a little bit to the left, as you see on your screen.
So pretty well took that side out.
Certainly. Yeah.
Take it
So
anyway.
calling for a rock, but effectively a guard to try to protect her 2 stones that are touching the top of the button and 4-foot. You'll see them come into play here shortly. This rock much deeper than she had called for. don't know if the angle is there to get all three, but there is certainly a shot for two here to remove two yellow stones. I don't know if the physics of the drag effect, if you were to hit that enough on what would be the hand side as you're looking at the screen, or we're looking at the screen there, to get all three to go. Curling a bit. She, for any drag effect at all, she wants to be on the high side of this. Oh, just missed clipping. That yellow rock that's on the edge of the 4 foot. Samantha Barabee now thinking about asking for a hit on that blue rock and rolling in, but now likely debating whether or not you just get there by straight draw.
Because a hit, if she wants that roll, there appears to be a jam on the yellow in the back.
Looks like it, yes. Again, with the benefit of being able to hear the call, the position of the broom and the speed now coming out as they've opted for the hit and roll on this. She's going to have to, as you mentioned, Lawrence, be mindful of the potential jam back there, but she may also not really care too much about the jam. If she can sit too buried and attempt to steal. Speaking of the mental game, as you were, the nerves of ignoring opponent's stones, right? It's 10-4. Taking out opponent's rocks in the 12-foot are not going to do you a whole lot of good. You need to ignore those. You need to put some rocks in play. You need to hope for some misses from a team that's curling mid-70s% as a team. The odds say that it's not likely to happen. The rock could peel.
The odds say it's not going to happen, but you gotta work towards it, that it is going to happen.
Absolutely.
As even when you're watching some near perfect curlers that are curling in the 90s, it's all going to be predicated on a mistake by somebody.
It's refreshing to club curlers every now and then to see an Olympian make a mistake, isn't it?
Exactly.
It does happen, and that's if all the games were played on paper, you wouldn't have to watch them for starters, and that's where the human element comes in. Oh yes, lots of shots from there. So now with no guards out front, call to replace and cover and try to protect over the last 4 rocks of this end. Those 2 rocks that are to see shortly coming into view.
I'd say she can't be in the house.
The indication from the brushers initially was that the speed was a little deep. Rock is coming down a little bit. It does, as you see right now on your screen at home. You see right over Erica Cluff's 2 shoulders, a yellow and a blue rock, which does leave a more than sizable opening to play a double on the 2 Smith rocks that are in the 4 foot. You see right there in front of Erica Cluff's feet. There is a double there, but some debate on which turn to play, as you see just over Erica's left shoulder. That blue rock that if you throw it and it hangs a little bit on that 4 foot line, Lawrence, it clips that and comes over the top of those rocks, and then it leaves Samantha Barabee with a shot to guard and timeout.
Decide to take a timeout.
Timeout.
I think they know what shot they need to do. They're just not confident
on how to get there, right? Yeah, I think you're spot on.
Because the hole is there, they're not lined up side by side, so they have to. Which one do they want to hit first?
Yeah.
It's a matter of how much ice to take and how much weight to throw.
I don't know if they're. I think that's it. I don't think they're so concerned with where we leave our shooter in this scenario, because making that double, and if your shooter rolls out, you are still shot with the blue rock at the back of the house, as you see.
Cluff does have last rock on his end.
It does appear as though we were talking about Felipe Marin as coach of this Cluff team. Looks as though through the monitor here that Valerie Robichaud of the host club Moncton Club is either the coach for the weekend or the proxy for this game to give the Cluff team a little input on the shot call.
Having experienced Ellery's coaching, having been on ice as an umpire and listening to him, mostly he'd be asking them what shot that they're comfortable with. I think they should pushing towards that.
It looks like they've on a turn. The Eric Cluff's out turn is a right-handed curler. A little bit of ice on this. I would say the speed is going to be up. They're not going to even think about bringing that. There's a blue rock that's in play, although it's their own. They don't want to play with this shot stone. Drifting a little bit out towards the 4-foot line.
She got it. Beautiful shot.
Nicely executed.
And you know that she had called that shot before they went up 15. That's what she had to do.
Yes.
Before they went. Or not 15.
On the timeout, yeah. Like you said, sometimes just a little reassurance. Right? So now you are Team Smith. You are Team Smith. You do not have last rock. You are down by 6. And with ends 7, 8, 9, 8 then, excuse me, with ends 8, 9, and 10 to play. Calling for the draw.
Number 2 shot right now is yellow.
I think, Lawrence, do you think, and it was hard to tell from the, without the benefit of their conversation, knowing if they want to tap that blue back that you see at the back of the house right there and sit 2, or if they are happy with a perfect freeze with the potential to steal 1, make it 10-5. Well, and I was trying to get an indication from them of speed, and I couldn't tell by any motion of their broom or such with this. They're going to have to work at this pretty hard to make it shot rock, let alone tap it. And she is going to sneak just by. Nice. There we go. Covers the pin. Buried. Well, essentially buried and jammable. Right?
She can't use the yellow as a raise to
yeah,
take out.
Yeah.
I think the jam is there for
if
sure.
you jam both of those back, you are giving up 2. So from a tactical call, from an execution standpoint, that was a near perfect curling shot. Setting up because now Eric Cluff has to think about the run back, but you're running back your opponent's rock into your opponent's rock with your own rock back there
that's a dangerous call
to catch on.
But I don't see a lot of options because you could probably chip it. But then again, if you miss, you're on the blue stone, spilling.
Yeah, options are to there's rocks you can't quite see in play that are on the 12-foot on the far side that she could run in, which would be running her own blue into that rock. If you saw the overhang here, you could,
I think that's called the Sanger Schmerber shot.
Yeah,
I just watched that on YouTube today.
Okay, getting warmed up for this evening. Right? Playing for the double, she's going to be well pressed to make contact on that top rock. Close to tapping it in for second shot, but it's a steal.
Steal of 1.
Steal for Team Smith. A fantastic shot with her lap. by Samantha Barabay to make it 10-5. Keep on keeping on. Just heard someone here advocating for this to become a 12-end game and such, but 10 ends it is, with 2 ends to play. Team Erica Cluff leading 10-5 over Cameron Smith.
That was a well-played end by Team Smith.
Moving across the sheets to update Lewis leads McCabe 7-4. The Donovan Robichaud game still a 1-point game, 5-4. Donovan leads. They look, based on the direction they're going, like they're playing the 9th end. They haven't posted a score for the 8th, so we'll come back to that from a score perspective. Peasley Tracy have moved on from that 1-0 game that was there as a score for a number of ends. It's now 4-3. Peasley leading Tracy. And 7-4 Lewis over McCabe, playing the 9th end. We're in the 9th end here. Rachel Brewer, Team Cluff.
Center guard, and they're going to try to chip it over, which is a miss.
Another textbook traditional strategy here, and Samantha Barabay motioning for another center line guard. Steal of 1 is probably not going to do it here. Not much probably in it as there was.
Now they have to get a bunch. There's only 2 lanes left. There's not a lot of time left.
So although giving up the steal in 8 as Team Cluff did, still very much in command here with a 10-5 lead, playing the 9th end.
Anything is possible. Seniors in Fredericton a couple of years ago, Team New Zealand was losing 10-1 after 2 lanes and came back and won the game.
Yeah, absolutely. There you go.
Yeah. After that.
Wow.
And that was the only game they won.
Team Smith really has to be thinking 3 here. How do I steal 3 and follow that up with a steal of 2, and then play an extra hand and try to steal that?
So Smith got 2 good guards up, good shots.
Yep.
And Cluff just missed 2 shots.
Let's see if she's gonna come around now. Stone Rayleigh slip. He's in turn. Looked like they called the sweeping on that right away, so she may have been a little tight on her slide. Wasn't the brushers that jumped it because of speed. It looked like Samantha Barabay called them on. However, short's better than deep there.
Putting a little clutter in front of the house.
Yes.
She's looking for the peel, not just the chipping.
Second stone, Deanna McDonald. Shot coming over the face a little bit. Potential for a double, no. Change of color, but remains a center line guard. Still opportunity.
It's a long guard, so it's not very useful as a raise.
I'm going to play the tap here. I wonder if that's because they feel something has changed on the ice, or they're not really sure how to get there, because certainly opportunities there to play that in-turn come around that you just saw around that blue, but maybe they're wary of leaving that blue for a run back. Maybe slip with her out turn. If this overcurls, there's a potential for a split here, but the line looks great.
Beautiful finish.
Just short, I think. You can overhead look at that. Looks from our perspective that it's, and it is. It's short. Cleanup time now for McDonald.
Tight, called it right away. She's on her own. She starts cleaning something.
Yes, a miss, but a good miss. Samantha Barabie's going to go back to the in-turn. In-turn for Cameron Smith.
She needs to get some stones in the house now. Enough cards.
Smith's a Glassville resident, curling out of Florenceville. Runner-up at the most recent U18 provincials.
I think her weight was good. It just curled more than what they anticipated. They didn't have the sweepers on it very long.
Caitlin, who we just saw, grade 11 at Carlton North High School. A couple of academic achievement awards on her shelf in addition to her curling successes. More cleanup time here, Lawrence.
She's asked for a lot of weight, so let's anticipate something else here.
Ashley Cormier, who was statistically leading the athletes on this sheet. Just saw her after her slide motion back with her broom as though either the rock had caught something or something on her slide, or
She looked back immediately after she let the rock go.
and we saw the result. Result of that, which was certainly way wide of the peel attempt and taking out the rock and using the house. Cameron Smith.
That left an
Opening. There's rocks to raise. There's rocks to split. There's rocks to hide behind, as we talked about early in this end. A steal of one. Not a whole lot of help here. Quiet.
yellow rocks in front of the house, but at this point they're not doing much good.
Cluff now the peel tactic and looking to play a little hit and roll off the rock just to the left-hand side of her broom as you're looking. So you're motioning there with her hand so that third Ashley Cormier is exactly sure what she's calling, because position of that broom, if you happen to throw the in-turn at it with a peel, it would also make sense. But going for the out-turn, a quieter weight hit to roll in behind that cluster of three yellow that you see a little closer to us here. But riding that center line for a while. The hit part, but the
stayed in play.
The roll under cover. As they call it in curling, time for the skip's deuce.
She's in an ideal position. Those rocks are well placed if she can get in behind.
Nice stagger on those guards to the right-hand side, as you see on the screen. She needs a good draw and a miss and another good draw.
Trying to get behind those guards. Short.
Yeah, and as you see the guards on your as you're watching it at home, and maybe you're still at work. If she gets in there behind those, there's not the angles for running back yellow, plus you're running yellow into yellow. Are not fantastic. This rock is way out there. You see the sweeper's motion, and it's a little. Now she may be thinking about trying to play a little wick off of that yellow, but they have lost some of the angle. Are they going to? No, the speed just wasn't there. For the wick, speed was great for the draw, but it didn't move off that guard for her.
That's one of the first things that I saw.
Yeah, she came out just the line call, the broom, the ice was a little further out than they've been playing, and she may have got surprised with it. In some clubs, the further out you go, or it's going to swoop and curl in there if you have ice that they refer to as dished. That seemed to have pretty well the typical amount of curl we've been seeing this afternoon. It's kind of caught them. Cluff now, with not a whole lot of use in peeling any guards, is essentially try to beat Team Smith to the punch with shot rock here. Line is fantastic. Weight is a little quiet. And while in the rings, it does give.
Still wide open. Not much even a hit.
Interesting, because what she's looking at is playing a little hit and roll off of that. She'll be top 12 at best. Well, if she rolls under cover, even if she rolls under cover, she's only top 12.
Yeah. Oh, I see that she goes in. She rolls.
And, yeah, with Erica Cluff's last rock, she would have full 8 foot to draw to. As opposed to playing an outturn or an in-turn draw to try to get to 4 foot. If she were to play from the outside in on an outturn, she could be 4 foot. She could be T-line. Have to get a really narrow little wick off of this in order to roll to the 8 foot. She's going to nose.
She's not.
Well, see the overhead here. And she's not in.
I think the blank should be the option on this.
Either one, you're 11-5 or 10-5.
The way the game's been going, there's no coming back.
11-5 without hammer or 10 with. No. This is about where, if you're a fan of curling on TSN, you'd hear Russ say, "It's time to start the car."
She's going for the one.
This is
interesting because you have to be careful to not
absolutely.
raise.
This is it's good curl, but looks good.
Doesn't want to chip the other one in for sure. Even if she goes through, it's not a big.
It's sliding to the back and hanging on. Left her every piece of paint to draw to. And score 11-5. The team's having a little conversation. Nobody seems to be rushing to concede they may be of the mindset that this is the opening draw. We need to throw a few more rocks. We need to see a different piece of ice throughout this, and let's play a really good 10th end and score a couple and walk out good about the last rocks we throw.
So down by 6.
We will take this time to once again thank our event sponsors, Papa John's, the title sponsor of the Papa John's U21, Under 21 New Brunswick Curling Championships, Bob Lee Production, Modern Construction, and Shoppers Drug Mart for all of their support in making this event happen.
And we are at Curl Moncton, so if you do want to come down and see some games, the will be tonight at 7 o'clock. Doors are open.
We're at 80 Lockhart Avenue. You will, if you haven't been in this neighborhood this fall, this curling season, you'll realize that no, we are not putting in covered parking. You'll see the steel structure is in place for the expansion from a 5-sheet to a 10-sheet facility, and such as this. We are still at 80 Lockhart Avenue, and parking nearby at Kiwanis Park, parking on Lockhart Avenue. We're at 80 Lockhart Avenue.
And there is lots of parking at Kiwanis with the pathway between the arena and the Kiwanis ballpark.
See a guard here.
To leave any of her rocks in play, so it's a throw-through.
Yeah, Rachel Brewer with the throw-through. While Rachel's delivering, we'll move across the sheets on scores. Team Lewis leading Team McCabe, score of 8-4. Now playing 10, so Lewis with an 8-4 lead, playing the 10th end. McCabe does have last rock. It is 5-5. Donovan Robichaud playing the 10th end. 4-4, playing the 10th end. Should mention that Team Donovan does have last rock in that 5-5 tie in the 10th end. Peasley Tracy, scores tied 4-4. Peasley having last rock advantage here, and 3 centerline guards in play in that Tracy Peasley game. 1 guard in play, 1 corner guard, 1 centerline guard in play in the Donovan Robichaud game on Curl Moncton's sheet. Another center guard here in our feature game. I don't have the numbers, but instinct tells me that the Team Smith's percentages have probably crept up a little bit here in the last couple of ends. They've been executing better, which may be a combination of getting used to the ice, getting used to the speed and the curl, and maybe just some jitters with opening draw of a provincial championship.
Well, the strategy changed a little too. They started putting up some guards as opposed to throwing everything in the house.
Yes.
Taking everything out, so, which is what they need to do in the beginning. You need to junk it up when you're from behind.
I expect they will, as every team will. They'll have it with Coach Joe Barabee following this game, and they'll talk about what they did well, and talk about some of the tactical things, perhaps, as you mentioned, a little more aggressive early. There's another guard.
Stones to play with left.
No.
They're down by 6.
In that 5-5 Donovan Robichaud game, there's been a timeout called in that game with what looked to B. Only a couple rocks to play, so we're into skip stones in that 5-5 game. Donovan Robichaud. We'll do our best to go shot for shot as we watch this game come to a Bear be looking for another guard.
She has to get a tight guard.
Here.
She will soon be numerically eliminated.
Yes, you're right. Guards don't pretty well need a little split here, and again, this end I think was all about confidence, not about 6 to tie. And just coming out of the timeout in our other tie game, the 4-4 Tracy Peasley game. Coming out of timeout again with Peasley having left. They're only about halfway through that end. Still playing the last of the second stones rocks. Another appeal call here. Ashley Cormier with the throw. She's got a double. And her shooter rolls off outside of the 4-foot line. How's the math going on this one, Lawrence?
They are numerically eliminated. I guess they're going to keep playing.
Yeah, looks like they're going to play it through again.
The rules call for managing to concede.
We'll defer to the umpire here in the booth, and
But the umpire on the ice.
no, exactly. Yeah, we'll save you rapping on the glass or anything like that. These rocks slide to their completion here as we watch from our vantage point. We'll keep you up to date on the 2 tie games for as long. We see handshakes here on sheet 7, the Donovan Robichaud game.
Donovan had a draw for yours.
I believe it was Robichaud that had the draw. I'm trying to keep track here. I saw Matt McGee from Team Donovan sweeping rather aggressively on that blue stone going through. So I would say that based on Matt's sweeping efforts in there, that it was a Donovan win. So we can put that final on the board in a 10-end game, 6-5. 6-5, Donovan with the steal of 1. Robichaud had a draw to the 8-foot. Donovan with a rock T-line 12-foot that ended up being the counter. Our other tie game, the 4-4 game, Tracy Peasley is into the rocks of the 3rd stones. Tracy with a couple rocks in the house, calling for a centerline guard. We'll do our best to describe the action as you watch the rocks play their way through here on our feature game, sheet 9. 11-5 game that is now, as Lawrence has pointed out, mathematically has been decided, but these teams playing it out.
Alan King Smith has been making some great shots. Cluff has been able to take out, but they've been doing some good draws.
Guard attempt in the Tracy Peasley game. A long guard. A little extra sweeping effort. Skip coming out just over the hog line.
see the mess on sheet 6. It's 2, 4, 6, 7 stones in the house, of which 6 of them are in the 4-foot.
Yes, it doesn't. If you looked at that sheet, you wouldn't think it was an 8-4 game in the 10th end, would you?
Nope.
No. So Peasley, with the advantage of last rock and last stone of their third end, their third stones. Very a little distracted there as one of the sweepers slipped on the ice and fell. Saw a few slip and falls on Tuesday evening with this fresh playing surface here being a little slicker than normal.
Once you get this fresh ice.
So some normally sure-footed on Tuesday night. Went for a little tumble. We just saw sweeper go down here, but he doesn't look any worse for wear.
Other than being a little embarrassed.
Pride,
Okay.
yes. The bruise on his pride. That's it. So in this 4-4 Tracy Peasley game, we're down to Skip's rocks. First rocks from Tracy about to come with Tracy sitting one rock back 8 foot. A few guards out front, but two guards primarily of concern are both all opposite 4-foot lines. So the 4-foot path is essentially wide open, and the only rock in the rings is square on the center line. Back 8. As you've been watching sheet 9 with Cluff against Team Cameron Smith.
One rock remaining for Team Smith. Hopes to score a point so that she finishes with a little confidence.
Absolutely.
Even though it's a meaningless point, but it's not meaningless to them.
No, that's what this end was all about from them. We didn't have to hear their conversation to a good guess at that. Back to sheet 8 in the Tracy Peasley 4-4 game. There's been a timeout called with Team Tracy due to throw. After when this game, can you switch to that?
Just a reminder about our sponsors again, one more time, that this is the Papa John's U21 Championship. Sponsors Bodley Productions, Modern Construction, and Shoppers. Now we're taking a look at what's going on the Tracy Peasley game.
Yeah, we're still in timeout. We're going to switch we've got a couple rocks here to come in this 4-4 Tracy Peasley game, and not the catbird angle that we had on this. We've been able to switch our camera coverage over, and we'll catch the last 4 rocks of this presently tied game, 4-4. As you see, Team Tracy contemplating a long guard on a rock that is back 8 foot. Team Tracy from the Capital Winter Club, so if you're not able to be here in Moncton, CWC fans, have a last look at this match. Tracy with Skip Adam Tracy, mate Ben McFarland, second Carter Small, lead Emmanuel Porter. Playing CWC clubmates. Skip by Alex Peasley, Declan Johnson, and Enzo Green that lead. So those Fredericton area fans, Capital Winter Club fans, those Capital Winter Club fans that are tuned in, we are here for the end of the Tracy Peasley game. Switched our camera over just a little for that. Andy Peterson here this afternoon with Lawrence Forbes. We just watched our feature game wrap up an 11-5 win for Team Cluff over Team Smith in the U21 junior women's side. Elsewhere